Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. The Saints roster, we think, is down to its final 53. We say that because anything's possible moving forward the rest of the week, but they made some addendums to it and adjustments on Sunday. And, Lenny, this is all born of not only who's available, but injuries as well.
Yeah, and I think you're going to continue to see changes. What we see right now may not be what we see come Sunday. For instance, the news last night, the Saints were bringing in Nick Novak, the kicker, for a workout on Tuesday. Could we see a change in kicker before we ever get to week one? I'll be honest with you. I like the job that the two young guys did. Hocker winning the job over Hopkins, but unless they're seeing something that maybe they're not totally satisfied there and they want to give a veteran a look, then perhaps. But some interesting moves, and one of which, a Mandeville native and Michael Maudie coming onto the 53-man roster, the linebacker, the former Minnesota Viking and Penn State standout. It's a second-generation Saint. You and I were talking about that's a bit unusual, but let's see how this whole thing plays out. And a lot of it, look, the big thing I am anxious to see right now as we lead into the week is Wednesday at 3 o'clock, which doesn't mean anything to anybody else. It's Wednesday at 3 o'clock. That's when the first injury report comes out, and maybe we know some more about some of these things that have been top secret for the last several weeks in terms of players and where they might stand.
Right, and then, of course, things leak out nationally, like a national source yesterday saying Jarris Bird's making a lot of progress and everything else, but naturally, locally, we have no idea, right? So stay tuned. Wednesday, they have to turn in an injury report, so you'll have the information one way or the other at that point. LSU tried to play a game, didn't go very far. Rare postponement, cancellation, never made it up. And you could go on and on about this, Lenny, about the semantics of it and what happened and what could have happened. And I understand both sides of it. I really do. You didn't want to put yourself in a short week for Mississippi State. You didn't want to have to replay it in front of a few people. You didn't want to have to keep a team over, the whole deal. At the same time, you cost yourself some valuable experience for your young players, including your quarterback.
I think that's the biggest reason to try to get the game in, is because you've got so many young guys that needed that game under their belt before you got to what is now week one, but would have been week two, at Mississippi State. It could be a very challenging game, be a very physical game. It's a tough challenge for the defense trying to stop Dak Prescott. All we got to do is just put in last year's film and see what he did to him a year ago at Tiger Stadium. So it's going to be a tough test Saturday night in Starkville, and it would have been it's still going to be a tough test regardless of whether that game gets played last weekend against McNeese. But the lack of those game snaps for so many of your players is going to make it that much tougher.
No question about it. Of course, where Tulane is concerned, they probably wish they didn't play. Well, maybe not, but at the same time, the way things went against Duke, that was just an awful performance. To start a season with a whole year to prepare in a game where you were a 7.5-point underdog and got beat by 30 at home. So I'm trying to find a silver lining, and the only thing I can possibly throw out there is that their defense competed well, kept them in the game as long as they possibly could.
And look, if you look back to when Tulane has had success under Curtis Johnson, it's been because of defense and because of a ball control offense, a short passing game, running the ball, things like that. They've got to get some things going offensively, clearly. The only touchdown came on, a long 75-yard pass to Devin Breaux, which was really kind of a fluke play. It was kind of a jump ball situation. The defender fell down and he had waltzed into the end zone the final 30 yards in a one-on-one situation. But even then, by that point, it was 23-0 in the fourth quarter. But the special teams continue to be a concern. The bad snap on the punt, which led to a touchdown. Duke runs the kickoff back for a touchdown right after Tulane's one score. Those are the kind of things that, and like we said, Tulane doesn't have to be great at special teams. They just got to be average, and right now they're not even that.
Well, they don't even try a field goal early in the game when anybody else would have in that situation, but they have no confidence in their kicking game, and it just carries on. And one thing they had under Curtis Johnson when they went to a bowl game a couple of years was Cairo Santos. That makes a huge difference. High school football and the First NBC Bank Prep Showcase got off to a good start with a couple of games this past weekend, and we'll continue this week.
Yeah, we'll have, first of all, let's look back at week one. A couple of terrific games here on SportsNOLA.com. The premiere of the First NBC Bank Prep Showcase with Warren Easton defeating Jesuit. And then on Friday night, our first web-exclusive game, another great game between John Ehret and Riverside Academy. And then even on Saturday, we got you a little bonus with the Gridiron Development Football League Championship. So, 3 games for you in 3 days. Friday night, we make our first trip to Mississippi. Brother Martin and St. Stanislaus, and you are going to see some talent on the field. You know about Brother Martin, obviously, in these parts with the, their run of the semifinals last year in the town. But you're going to see a quarterback at St. Stanislaus that's as good as you will see on a high school level this year.
Looking forward to that. It's going to be great. And, of course, on radio, we'll have Rummel and Covington Saturday night, 7 p.m. on WGSO. Don't forget the original Friday night, 21st year, in conjunction with SportsNOLA.com and the best scoreboard. You can watch it at SportsNOLA.com as well. And it's 6 hours of unprecedented high school football coverage, 6 to midnight, locally on WGSO 990 AM, stations around the state. And, of course, the scoreboard, which was a big hit again this past Friday night.
Always. No better place to get your scores than right here at SportsNOLA.com. And if you're at the games, we're now very mobile phone and tablet friendly. So, bring your devices to the games and follow along everything else that's going on around the state in real time.
To do so, you would be a smart person. Lenny, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
See you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.